everyone, and welcome to this episode of Busting Life Challenges with me, Diane Parker. And today I have the amazing and beautiful and wonderful Tina Brigley come join me. Hi, Tina. Thanks very much for coming along today. Could you just tell everybody in your introduction who you are, what you do, and why, in particular, you do coaching?
Yeah, so who I am a mother. I like to say that because I feel like my daughters are like just my love and my light.
And
I'm an authentic
our
leadership
biggest
coach.
teachers, often our biggest teachers.
Oh my gosh, they so are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm an authentic leadership coach. I people say it come to me a lot of times for business coaching because I know how to grow businesses. I've grown two successful businesses in the last 5 years. But I say, but I'm not a business coach because I don't think you need tools and tactics. You need to work on your being. And when you work on your being, everything else falls into place. And so I really do help leaders show up authentically in their life, in their business, online, offline, and then they can really step up their leadership when they do that, when they show up as themselves, unconstrained, unleashed, and powerful. So that's a little bit about who I am, and more importantly, like what I do. Um, I guess, like, yeah, isn't that interesting when you ask who are you, and you say what you do?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
who am I? Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
so would you like to share a bit of your story with us as to why you started coaching in the first place? And I mean, you've done some amazing things like the TEDx talks and all the rest of it. Um, that to me is like way out of comfort zone. But what made you start this journey in the first place, Tina?
So I'll make a very long story short, but it starts in 2015. My husband and I had separated because I really believed I needed to leave the relationship to go find myself. And so when I made the leap to go leave, what I realized very quickly is I completely lost myself. I had no idea who I was. I was stuffing my emotions. I was going from one relationship to another because I was afraid to be alone. I was a, really, I didn't have a lot of self love. I didn't see it at the time, but I was doing a lot of sabotaging behaviors. And after a year of just like, what the heck is going on? Something needs to change. I found a pop up to become a health coach. Now, at this time in 2015, I knew who Tony Robbins was, but I didn't know anything about personal development. I didn't know about coaching. I knew that people would get counselors and therapists, but what the heck is this coach thing? I thought, soccer coaches, and
Yeah.
what the heck is a life coach? I signed up for this to become a health coach program, despite my friends saying, "Are you kidding me? You can't even get your life straight, and you're going to help other people." They laughed at me, but for me, it's like this would be a really great way to fill the time when I don't have my daughters.
Yeah.
This would, in my mind, it was just like, stay busy. Who cares what happens? Just sign up for this program. It'll give you something to do. You'll learn something about yourself. But in that process, I got to transform myself. I got to take on my health and my well being. I quit drinking. I got rid of those toxic relationships. I started developing self love, exercising. And literally, I went through a personal transformation where people couldn't believe how quickly things changed. And so I was a special education teacher at this time. And I realized too that I was wishing my life away. Wishing, on Sunday that, oh, I wish I could just not go into work tomorrow. And Monday I walk in and I wished it was Friday. And Friday I was wishing for holidays. And I just thought, man, I'm wishing my life away. And I had a conversation with a coach, and she said, Tina, would you would you rather be a teacher or a coach? And that question threw me because I thought, well, of course I would love to be a coach, but I went to school. I have my honors in psychology, my bachelor's in education, I have my special education specialist. You don't just quit a 14-year career with training and education to follow your dream. Who does that? But she had me really seeing a vision of what could be possible. And then I started thinking, what if? What if these things that I just dreamed about, living life on my terms, being a TEDx speaker, speaking on stages, writing a book, all of these amazing things, what if that were possible? And so at the time I was turning 40, and I said, you know what? I don't want to wake up when I'm 65 and say, what if I would have taken that jump when I was 40? So I think it was a few weeks later, I went to my principal and I said, I'm leaving teaching. She said, what? I said, yeah, I've decided that I want to be a coach and I'm going to leave the teaching profession. And she said, whoa, 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 wait a minute. You don't seem very certain about that. You just went through a divorce. And I said, I'm not certain. I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is that I want to try. I want to see where I can take this. And so she said, okay, I'll put in the request. So I took a leave of absence for the first year. In that time, I grew my business to 6 figures. Ease and flow. People ask me, how did you do that? My answer was always, I have no idea. People just came to me.
Yeah.
And what I realized is that I had a unique ability to deeply connect with people
Mm.
because I shared my stories. I shared the ups and the downs, how I overcame obstacles. I was a real person, and people were connecting to my journey.
Mm.
And so they would reach out to me and say, oh my gosh, that is me right now. And we would have a conversation. And really, that was it. I just showed up unconstrained, unleashed, and people just really wanted to work with me. Well, a year later, something clicked, something shifted, and I started getting scared. I was doubting my abilities. I was hiding behind personal development, multi level marketing. I stopped growing my business. My business tanked. I didn't even make $10,000 the next 2 years. I barely had enough money to get by to pay my bills. And I thought, what the heck happened? Well, what happened was I was in Washington, D.C., and I walked into a Starbucks. And there was this barista. She was so friendly, so amazing. And I just said, oh my gosh, I have to write you a review. I've never had service like this before. You are extraordinary. What's your social media profile? And I could not find her. And I said, you know what? Look me up, add me as a friend. I'll add you as a friend and I'll write you a review. So I said, my name's Tina Brigley. She started shaking. She was holding her phone. She pulled up. She's like, oh, I follow you. I follow you. She said, you are my angel. I listen to your videos all the time. That moment triggered something in my head. Uh-oh, you're seen. It's not safe for you to be seen. And I pulled back the brakes. And most people would think that's so extraordinary, but for me, being bullied severely for 2 years in school and people saying to me, who do you think you are? You think you're so great. You think you're so perfect. You're not. You're nothing. For me, it was not safe to be seen. I hid. And so here I am internally like, I can't do this, right? And then, of course, I got coaching. I blew up my business again. I had business partners in 4 months. Within 4 months of joining that team, we grew our business to multi 7 figures in the middle of a pandemic, won 4 global business awards, got CCE accreditation. I mean, making a huge impact. And then I realized, when you get to that top of the mountain, you think I'm going to be so happy and so fulfilled and satisfied. And I felt like I was at the top of the mountain. And I realized this isn't what I want. I don't want to grow an organization where I don't know my clients. I don't want to be part of an organization where I don't feel valued or appreciated, And so again, I was met with this other, stay or do in my heart what I know to be true, what I want, create my own thing, be the boss of my life, reclaim my feminine power, and just create what I want. And so I left.
Yeah.
The money, the this, the that. And then I recreated. And again, in a very short time, I blew up my business again. So I know I said long story short, but that is me in a nutshell. This is the roller coaster in the last 5 years.
So I noticed in part of that at the start of it, when you mentioned that you were separating from your husband and you went to the headmistress, but you did refer to keeping yourself busy in that process of doing stuff. And that, of course, is what we talk about in the grief recovery method with, when we're feeling some pain we want to avoid, we will keep ourselves busy. I mean, in this case, it's actually helped you develop and go along a path that is okay, but obviously some people do that with drink and all the rest of it. So I just was interested that was stood out for me in that short little conversation. Tina was keeping herself busy.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't be with my feelings and emotions. Heck no. Because I really had this belief that if I lose control, if I express sadness or disapproval or fear or frustration, that my life was just going to be in chaos. And I was doing everything to keep control. And what that meant was I stuffed a lot of emotions. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Like, what? It's so absurd. Nothing was fine in my life. Nothing. But yet I had this mask of fine because I thought if I take the mask off and I show people that I'm sad and that I'm hurt and I'm feeling broken, what are they going to think about me? How will I show up? I don't want anybody to think these thoughts of me. I want them to see this strong person. And it was just so BS. So BS. And, my husband and I, we ended up getting back together 3 years. After we separated, we stayed together for 3 years. And just recently, in the thick of leaving my business, losing my dad, losing my stepbrother, losing my nephew, I realized that, and we both realized, okay, we tried this. We're just not energetically aligned. We don't bring out the best in each other. And I love him. And that was so hard for me to say, I want more. I desire more. And I tried for 3 years to fit it and work on myself and be responsible. But at the end of the day, sometimes I feel like this energy, you either have it or you don't.
Yeah.
And instead of going back to being busy and keeping myself busy, I did the opposite this time. I went quiet. I went within. I shut out the world. I took 5 weeks off. I went to meditation retreats, silent retreats. I'm like, no, that old pattern doesn't work. I need to deal with these feelings. I need to deal with these emotions. I need to express them. I get to grieve. I get to be pissed off, I get to feel frustrated, and that is okay.
Absolutely. I mean, if more people could understand the emotion of grief and not be so fearful of that, the connotations that go around with grief, you'd could be so much more empowered in your life. And when things come up, you know exactly why you're feeling the way you're feeling. And that's kind of like where I come in and give people this, like a little process to handle that, because most people think grief is a process, and it's not. It's an emotion. How you can treat yourself in that time, you might have a little process to help you through that particular time. But grief can touch our lives from leaving the school job you did to going into coaching. You might have left some colleagues you got along with very well, but you're excited about going into the new future. And also, so when you've had, similar experiences, the other side of it now, to clear away, to start creating the life that you want to create for yourself and your business, to have that space has meant leaving other things behind and chasing and following and facing some of the aspects of grief around that. So, I mean, I'm very excited about what you're going to be doing in the future, Tina, and God bless you for everything that you have put forward and also helped me with personally during this last year that I've got to know you, and I will be following you and being in touch with you like a hawk. What's on the agenda for Tina going forward?
Well, before I get there, Diane, I really need to acknowledge you because when my dad passed away, the first person I thought of was you. And I remember, I don't know if you remember this, but I called you on Facebook Messenger and I was crying so much, like I couldn't breathe because I hadn't dealt with those strong emotions. And I was like, Diane, I just can't, I can't, like, I feel like I can't breathe. I feel like I don't know what to say. Like all of these emotions were coming up. And one of the things that I was really having a hard time dealing with was that even though my dad passed, I was grateful. And I felt so much shame around being grateful that he had passed because I just felt like he had lived such a traumatic life. He had so much, like he was in so much pain and so much turmoil that I was like, wow, he finally has peace. But I had a hard time with that emotion of guilt because I was, people are like, I'm so sorry for your loss. And in my head, I was like, don't be sorry. I'm like, and then I felt selfish. I felt like what is wrong with me that I actually feel this? And I remember you helping me work through those other feelings and emotions. And for me it was guilt, it was shame, it was grief, it was all of these things. And I remember you just holding space for me to just be like, Tina, there's nothing right or wrong about this process. It's a feeling and an emotion and you get to express it. And there's I just remember, and I didn't want to step over that because I'm really, really incredibly grateful for you and your guidance and your support. And, I know I help you grow your business, but you help me grow myself, and this is the beauty of working with extraordinary human beings. We all have something to offer each other. So
For
thank
sure.
you
For
for
sure.
being there when
I
I
mean,
needed you.
yeah, and equally, the extra emotional support you've given me over my estrangement. So I do definitely, I mean, you mean the world to me, Tina. Anyway, so what about going forward? What's the
Yeah.
vision? What's the future? I'm so excited. Share that with us all.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I realized when I was like working inside of a big corporation is that I really wanted to get back to one on one coaching. And of course, I had big, ambitious goals. And at the end of the day, it was like, what is the most important to me? Connection. What do I really care about the most? Knowing and understanding people and helping them to really succeed. So I said, okay, so what can I create that would help me feel this sense of connection, really help people grow, not just personally, but in their business, in their life, in their relationships. So I created a one on one coaching program and I work with 10 people for a whole year. And what that allows me to do is pour into them, give them everything that I created, everything that I got, one on one. I say, you get me in your pocket. Like I have a Voxer app where they're like, Tina, I'm feeling this way. And I'm like, okay, girl, this is what's showing up. Let me help you work through this. So I like walkie talkie them through it so they never have to wait a week to get my coaching. They get it on demand so that they can get out of their way. So that's what I'm doing in my business. And then I also want to run retreats and in-person events so that I can serve hundreds of people in a different capacity. So yeah, I'm creating my first live event likely in September. I know, Di, you want me to come to the UK. It's either going to be in Toronto or the UK. I haven't decided yet. I'm going to see where I get pulled towards. And then I'm going to do a retreat in Tulum, Mexico in November
Oh,
for 20 extraordinary women. We're going to do crazy stuff like ice baths and sweat lodge, like sweat houses, and release like, emotions and really connect with our feminine energy and with each other and just really break down the walls, reclaim our feminine power, and really step into being the boss of our life and business. So that is what this year looks like for me. Now, I don't know what's going to happen next year, but this is the game plan for right now. And it really feels aligned with what I want in my life.
that sounds fabulous. And I certainly will be looking out for and praying that you do come to London or somewhere in the UK. even the Isle of Man. But Tina, I want to thank you very much for sharing your journey with us today. How can anybody that's listening that would be interested in working with you get in touch with you?
Well, one of the things that I have happening right now in the next month is I'm doing a women's summit. And you can look for that information. It's going to be all about health, wellness, business, mindset. So if you guys want to, it's a free event. Follow me on Facebook, Tina Marie Brigley, or LinkedIn. You can find me, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. I'm the only Tina Brigley out there, so you cannot miss me. I'm everywhere. Yeah, that's probably the best way. I got lots of free resources too. So
That's grand. I'll be certainly looking for that to sign up to that. Tina, I know that you're a very busy lady, and I cannot thank you enough for jumping on here and having this conversation with us today. God bless you, and I will see you soon, hopefully.
yeah,
And if anybody would like to get in touch with me, you can find me at www.lifeafterlossiom.com. Thank you now. Bye.
bye everyone.